This is what happens if you stretch your quads using the couch stretch every single day for an entire year. And although this is going to focus on my 1 year journey where I accrued over 50 hours of total stretch time, the story actually starts a lot earlier to a 12-year-old me who'd just gone through his first big growth spurt, entering his first ever session of karate. I walked in and saw everybody sitting on their knees on the hard wooden floor in what is known as the Seiza position. So I sat down with everybody else, and that's the exact moment I realized just how inflexible I was. I couldn't sit on them for more than 5 seconds until the pain and discomfort was just way too much for me. I felt so awkward and embarrassed that I literally never went back there again. Then fast forward to 18 years of age when I was first ever introduced to the couch stretch. It was in the Sheffield United physio room where I just got to after being subbed off with a pretty serious knee injury. And it was my lucky day because the first team physio was actually the one on duty, and this is how the conversation went.
Why do your knees look like that? Because every time I go out in the field, I put my body on the line, I guess. Always getting fouled, drawing fouls for the team. You mustn't be a very good player then, if you spend the whole game on the floor.
At least he was honest with me. I can't do anything but respect it, and he was probably right. That's when he then put me in the couch stretch position to test my flexibility.
So what I remember from that interaction was that my knee was about this far away from the wall, and I could get into this position and straighten my back a bit, but I was unable to flex my glute whatsoever. He was just stuck there laughing at me, pointing at my ass, and then start poking it, and he goes, "Tense this." I'm like, I'm trying, but I just couldn't whatsoever.
Nevertheless, he told me we have a lot of work to do. So that brings us to 2 years later, where I wasn't playing football for the first time in my life. I got pretty into the ATG stuff, and they talk about flexibility being paramount, being strong in those lengthened positions, and they usually do maybe 2 to 3 times a week working on flexibility, mainly being the couch stretch for your quads. I'd originally added quad stretching into my routine 2 days a week, generally after already training my quads, which looking back, I don't think is a bad way to go about things, but it wasn't working for me, and that's something you got to remember. If a stretching routine isn't showing you any results, then change it up. So that's exactly what I did. I decided to simplify it down even further and decided that maybe I just need more volume and less intensity and just see if I respond to that in a better way. This was me 1 year ago attempting to sit in the Seiza position. You can see I can't really make it all the way and weight bear on my heels. So my goal will be to sit in that position pain-free, as well as being able to get my shoulders to wall in the couch stretch position with my glute flexed. Then this is how I progressed over the first 3 months, and there wasn't much progress, to be honest. I was no longer feeling the sharp pins and needles feeling when getting into the couch stretch, but I was only stretching at about 30 to 40% of the max strength. And I was definitely still feeling pretty extreme discomfort if I attempted to sit on my knees, sit on my feet, and felt like so much pressure in the quads, in the knees, and in the calves. This was around the time that I actually got sent a massage gun. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, this video is not sponsored by a massage gun company, even though I did ask them, but they weren't interested. But nevertheless, I'm here still promoting it because I actually believe that this was a pretty big factor in increasing the quad flexibility. Now, I'm very skeptical about massage guns just because there's not a lot of good science on them. And from what I could see, it's mostly people just saying just because it makes you feel good. And that's not a bad reason to use them. But the reason I started using it was actually to warm my muscles up before I endured my stretching, because you are supposed to warm up before you stretch, but I kind of use this as my lazy version of a warm up. But where I think it was most effective was when I used the massage gun 2 to 3 times per week as a method of removing any adhesions in my quads that where I'd locate a knot in my quad and then hold the massage gun on it for 30 to 60 seconds until the tension released. Then over the next 9 months, it was pretty much the same every day. Stick to the routine, warm up, massage gun, stretch, 3 sets, 60 seconds minimum each day. Usually be twice a day, but give or take, I wasn't so fussed. As long as I got the once a day in, I was satisfied. So 6 months in, you can see my knee is slowly getting closer to the wall. You can also see me starting to make contact with my heels and begin to bear some weight in the Seiza position that I was happy with at the time, but still felt like quite a bit of discomfort when sitting in that position, even though I could now sit in it. By month 8, my knee was getting closer and closer to the wall, and I was able to fully tense my glute, even in this position, even with my knee this close to the wall, which I was really, really happy about. That's one bit of progress I can't really show you. I made it so that I would not move on from a position until I could hold a full glute contraction in that position. By month 10, my knee was maybe an inch or two from the wall, and I was able to get my shoulders to the wall with about
a 75% quad contraction. It seemed like it was getting harder and harder to tense the quad the closer my knee got to the wall. It was also the first ever time I felt like zero discomfort whatsoever in the Seiza position, which I was super gassed about.
The biggest learning from this was understanding that stretching might not be just about how much pain you can take, even though some methods of stretching, like I know Shaolin monks, only from this guy's experience talking about it on YouTube, like they really push through the pain, and it's like a huge mental game of how much pain you can take. And I know gymnasts are kind of the same in trying to get their splits and different flexibility feats, but I'm not a gymnast and I want to be as pain-free as possible with kind of preventing injury. And I felt like this method of training really suited that. Just super easy, consistent over a long period of time, rather than trying to rush those gains like we all want. Like if we could do a split tomorrow, we'd all love to do it. So when I realized that it wasn't about just pushing through the pain, and it was more about controlling the breath and actually relaxing the body and teaching the body that this range of motion is okay. Obviously you also need to be strengthening. That's how the body knows that how far it's allowed to go. It depends on how strong you are in that position, as I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this know already.
So it all comes down to this. I think we're gonna hit it today. I'm gonna push a little bit harder in the stretch. We're gonna go knee completely to the wall and hopefully shoulders hitting back onto the wall. Okay. Let's go. That is tight. Now it'll be, can I engage this glute while in that position? Yeah. Might not be super engaged, but that is engaged enough. Let's try the right one. Let's go. Now, so I guess the last thing is, can I now sit in that position, size of position? I can. Get in. Super happy with that. It definitely it doesn't feel like comfortable, I would say. It doesn't feel comfortable, but I can definitely bear it a lot more. I'll see, like, if I go on one leg, this now kind of feels like what 2 legs used to feel like, and then even before that, I couldn't even get in that position. So definitely seen some major progress. I'll put up now like the year of results, mainly focusing on the knee position. You can see my knee was at the front of the pad long ways at the very beginning, and then over the 12 months, it just gradually got closer to the wall. I tried to keep the camera angle as consistent as possible so we could see this progress over the year, but I reckon this is super satisfying to see. So what I'm thinking is that we're gonna do reverse Nordics every day for a month. You know, I've done the slow and steady stuff. Now let's do it a little bit more intensity on the long range position of the quads. Currently at about here I can get down. Can I get up? So from there, I'm gonna do those for the next month, every single day, as many as I can. And we'll see just how good my quad flexibility is then. Because before I couldn't even get into this position, and now I'm just kind of hyped to move forward with it. Definitely something I'm excited to do. So I'll see you guys in that video next month. And I'll see you guys even sooner than that in the next video next week. See you then.